Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate you hosting. And thank you for that introduction. And welcome, everyone. It's so great to see you. Uh, there we go. Actually, just one small correction about that introduction. My kids no longer live with me. Sad to say, they are out and in the world. The twins just graduated from college, like 2 and 3 weeks ago, and Roy is in college also. So we're empty nesters. But I'm in San Francisco right now, visiting, actually watching the older boy Nelson and the younger one Roy row against each other in national championships, which just happened yesterday. So it's lovely to be here with you all. I've been looking forward to this and nervous about this for since I signed up for this Dharma Sunday, because the Sadhana of Mahamudra is a practice that um, I've been doing for 30 years, and it was my very first exposure to the vivid imagery and experience of sadhana practice, and and has made a huge impact on my life. And so I'm very happy to be able to share it with everybody. And thank you for your interest. Um, I'd like to start off just with some gratitude to my teachers, the benefactors of my life, who have supported me in difficult times and challenged me in easy times and really helped me grow up. So lots of people, but especially my parents and lots of friends, my wife Ruth and our kids who are always teaching me things. As my son Roy once said to me, Dad, if you can't laugh at yourself, you're going to miss a lot of jokes. Choyam Trungpa Rinpoche, Lama Willa, Anab Tupten, Lama Liz, the NDF Sangha, and many, many more people. So thank you to all of those people. I also want to acknowledge that although I've done this particular practice for a long time, I'm relatively new to sadhana practice as my main practice. So mostly my main practice has been shamatha vipassana, as well as a bunch of karma yoga stuff. So the comments that I'm going to make about sadhana practice are really like from a sort of beginner point of view, compared to some of you. And I hope you find them useful, but I'm nowhere near as experienced in this practice as others in this room or this Sangha. So at some point early on, I will throw open the floor and ask people who have done sadhana practice for decades, um, to share or make corrections or or add their experiences to the conversation. Show of hands, if you wouldn't mind, who here, if you would, has practiced the sadhana of Mahamudra, particularly? One, two, okay, three, great, four. All right, thank you very. So 4 or 5 people. Um, that's helpful. As I said, I first encountered this practice in Boulder, Colorado in 1990. Um, I'm going to do an overview of sadhana practice and then an overview of the sadhana of Mahamudra in particular. And the first thing to know is that honestly, none of the information that I'm going to share is uh, required to do this practice. Um, I think you'll find that as we get into the actual practice, the imagery and the evocation of the sacred world, and frankly, just the speed at which we move through the text will carry us along in the right direction. So, feel free to take notes if you want to, but this is for your listening enjoyment as opposed to, oh my God, I need to read and understand all this stuff before I can do this practice. In fact, the way that this practice is usually introduced is that, like, for example, me as a new meditator back in Boulder, Colorado, uh, heard about this thing, Sadhana of Mahamudra. It happens on the new moon and the full moon. And I just showed up one night at this shrine room, and there were a bunch of people sitting there, and there was a person up front leading the practice who would give a very brief, like much briefer than I'm going to give, introduction to what it is. And then we would just start and just sort of jump into the deep end of the pool. And it is what it is, kind of thing. So nothing that I say is particularly a prerequisite. In fact, as you probably know, most sadhanas require a lot of prerequisites. Most sadhanas require, at the very least, a reading blessing, a lung from a qualified teacher. And many sadhanas require lots of preparatory practices, sometimes years and years and years of study and practice before starting a particular sadhana. This one in particular, though, is different in that the author, Trungpa Rinpoche, wrote it and made it open to everybody. So someone like me could walk off the street in Boulder, having basically never meditated in my life, and do this practice. So in that way, it's a really accessible way of exploring what it means to do sadhana practice without a ton of background or preparation. So what is a sadhana? We keep saying this word, sadhana. It's spelled Sadhana. It's a Sanskrit word, and it means a method for actualization or a method for realization or a method for waking up, you could say. A method for enlightenment, you could say. Lama Liz uses the word technology for practices like this. So, in a sense, a sadhana is a technology for waking up. And as a type of meditation, sadhana meditation is very different from sitting meditation. If you come from the Zen tradition or uh, any tradition that emphasizes sitting meditation, sadhanas feel like a different world in a sense. Because in sadhana practice, we use our imagination, our thoughts, to pretend that we are in an enlightened world. So instead of labeling our thoughts and coming back to the breath, or resting in open awareness, we are actively imagining a fully enlightened world, complete with sounds and smells and touch and visuals and the 3D environment. And just to note, this is easier for some than for others. Like this comes naturally or easier anyway for some. Um, and just like other kinds of meditations, sadhanas are a practice. So the experience of doing them changes over time. And if this is the first time you've ever done a sadhana practice, it might feel overwhelming or it might feel weird. And that's totally fine. Actually, if it's your 1000th time, it might feel overwhelming and weird. That's totally fine also. Um, just relax and experience the practice for what it is. Feel what's ever coming up in you, just like sitting. And And to the extent you can just enjoy it, just savor the experience. But if you want to uh, engage with it, you can actually start to imagine it. Imagine the world that's being described in the sadhana, because what you're doing is you're imagining uh, an enlightened world. You're imagining a fully awake world, and you're actually imagining that you are fully awake and manifesting in this very particular form. I'll get into why that's helpful in a bit, but first I wanted to try to compare sadhanas to other types of literature because they're unlike other types of literature as far as I can think of. They're probably closest to poetry, but they're more like the epic poems of, Homer or the Mahabharata than the modern poetry of Emily Dickinson or Maya Angelou, because they're rich and vibrant and they depict this 3D world, with all senses included, sound and smell and the feel of the breeze on your face and the heat of the fire. In this particular sadhana, one part of it is a pregnant tigress. And the idea of this fully immersive 3D experience is that like you can feel the breath of the pregnant tigress. You can see the way the wind ripples the fur of the pregnant tigress. Like it's that vivid and real. They're not very much like, or in some ways, very much like Emily Dickinson, but with much more detail. And unlike most other literatures, sadhanas are not stories about other people. Sadhanas are stories about us if we were free, if we were fully enmeshed in awakeness and wisdom and compassion. And sadhanas were meant to evoke that experience, or at least offer the opportunity to touch enlightenment. I don't know if anyone here has played Dungeons and Dragons or another role-playing game. Um, any Dungeons and Dragons fans here? All right, all right. So in Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games, you pretend to be someone or something else. You pretend to be a dwarf or an elf or a barbarian or a wizard, and you explore an imaginary world with your fellow players and with the sort of narrator of the world, who's called the Dungeon Master. And as opposed to reading a book like The Lord of the Rings, where you're reading about Frodo and Sam trying to throw a ring into a volcano, is with role-playing games, you're actually doing it. You're in it. You're working through the world and exploring the world. So sadhanas are a little bit like that in the sense that you're immersed in this world. Um, but unlike Dungeons and Dragons, sadhanas are not about imagining, gathering gold and learning new spells and, defeating dragons. Sadhanas are actually about building a relationship and a bridge between who we think we are now and a fully realized, awakened, manifestation of your deepest energy. So, as you would expect, sadhanas are very different than our normal daily life. Sadhanas make movies like The Wizard of Oz or The Matrix look incredibly boring and mundane. They are filled with fantastic landscapes and people and animals and plants and trees and monsters and saints and just the richest, most vivid kinds of scenes imaginable. I tried to think of any, but I could think of no Western movies that are as fantastic or as imaginative as, the most mundane sadhana. Some of those Hindi Bollywood movies, sort of point in that direction, but instead of, watching some incredible characters, dance on the screen and sing love songs while they, do triple backflips over the British Empire, uh, you're watching someone else. The sadhana is like you're actually doing it. Also, unlike movies, sadhanas do not demand your full attention. And this might be a somewhat controversial point, and this might be also just the fact that I'm a beginner at sadhana practices. But in my experience, anyway, you can do sadhana practice whether you're fully enmeshed in the description of the world, in the sacred world that you're, the world of the sadhana. You can do the practice whether you're fully visualizing it or not. You can do it if you are connected to the energy of the world, even if you can't hold all the imagery in your imagination. You can do it if you are practicing and then you look up and you see the sun rise. You're still doing the sadhana practice. So the practice just continues. So you kind of end up dipping in and dipping out. At least again, is my experience. You touch into the sacred world and then you find yourself pulled out or you pull yourself out. So there are moments when you feel completely enmeshed, but there's plenty of moments when you don't, and both work for sadhana practice. It's not like you sit down and are teleported into a different universe. The way sometimes when you're watching a movie, you completely get absorbed. You forget about your body, you forget you're sitting in a theater, and you're completely engulfed in the story. Um, with sadhana practice, you still have a sense of your own body. You have a sense of your place. You have a sense of the room you're sitting in. So you're not going to another place or escaping this life for another, better, more enlightened one. Lama Liz says that sadhanas open a portal, which is a phrase I just absolutely love. It reminds me of, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when they opened the wardrobe into Narnia, or opening a portal in the side of a ship. When you're in this little metal cabin and you open this little portal and you can see out into the vast ocean. But this is not a portal to sort of disappear into. It's more like a portal that we can reach into for compassion and for love and for wisdom and for awareness and strength and power. and protection. It's all the things that we may be missing in our daily life or want to develop within ourselves or want to share with other people. We can open this portal and access it. I just want to say a couple things about relative and absolute, the relative world and the absolute world, because sadhanas are a relative practice for living in a relative world and making this bridge between relative and absolute. So, what does that mean? Relative world just means it's the place where we spend most of our time. It's the experience of hot or cold, awake or asleep, in love, not in love, hungry or full. Everything in our normal daily life is defined in comparison to something else. So they're all relative. Everything is relative in our normal daily experience. It's the world of ego and non-ego, meditation and post-meditation. These are relative distinctions. So a relative truth is a truth, something that works, something that is correct and real and functional for this relative world, this conditioned, dualistic, experience. So the truth, a relative truth, works in our day to day, but it doesn't really hold up under close examination because it's dependent on definitions and perspectives. What's spicy hot for one person is often just right for someone else. So for you, your relative truth is that um, a Scotch bonnet pepper is spicy hot, but for a Bhutanese person, it's like breakfast. So compare the relative world, which is the one we're most familiar with the absolute world, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is basically a description of the absolute world, absolute reality. And this is very hard to talk about because it's reality reduced from two down to one. It's reality uh, free of comparisons, uh, reduced to unity. And, you know, it's hard for us to get there because so much of all of our language, 99% of our experience, at least my experience, is all about the relative. And so we have a hard time even pointing to the absolute. We have a hard time pointing to or experiencing, let alone experiencing that sense of unity and connectedness, where all the complexities fall away, and we just experience life in the present moment fully. So that's what sadhanas seek to do. Sadhanas try to give us a map or a picture or an experience of the absolute world, the absolute truth. And you will see that come up again and again in the Sadhana of Mahamudra, this idea of collapsing dualism into oneness. So, why is this important? This is important because uh, Well, that's what we're all doing here, right? That's what we're doing, showing up on Sunday morning to talk and practice meditation. It's like we're trying to figure out, is there something more to this relative life? You know, we have this hypothesis that, and in fact, we've maybe had these experiences that there is something more to life than just hot and cold, grumpy or not grumpy. Um, we can't just live for the relative world. It's deeply unsatisfying. We yearn for oneness. We yearn for connectedness. We yearn for the deepest truth. But to live a full life, we actually need both. We need relative practices, relative skills, relative challenges, uh, relative growth, relative healing, and we need absolute practices and experiences and glimpses. And then we need to integrate them. Having them just separate is another dualistic situation. So we merge them and we join them, we bring them together in our moment to moment natural life. So, thanks to the sadhana technology, we have this very real and concrete and reliable way to open a portal to the absolute. Now, just to be clear, this is the relative absolute. This is not the absolute absolute because it's in our language and it's filled with imagery, and all these images mean different things. And, you know, it's not the absolute absolute, but it's the accessible absolute. It's the map, not the terrain, but it's something. It's a start. There was a moment in all of our lives when we didn't know what enlightenment was. We'd never even heard the word enlightenment. We couldn't even imagine that there was anything different than our relative world. And then we heard about it or we experienced it. What was that? What was that moment on the beach when I saw that bird disappear into the sunset? And my life will never be the same after that. We all had that moment, which is why we're here, because we're trying to figure out what was that moment, Was I just imagining something or was that really special? So a sadhana is a way of consciously exploring that terrain and forming a relationship with that terrain, um, that you can access anytime, as opposed to just hoping that the causes and conditions of your life bring it about the situation where you suddenly see the bird disappear into the sky. So we can do it every day if we want to. We can do this practice and we can dip in there and we can bring the magic back into our daily life and we can merge the two and bring them together. And just like having a strong sitting meditation, a strong shamatha practice gives you the ability to sit still in the middle of some emotional upheaval and experience some sense of peace because you've ridden the waves of your thoughts and emotions so many times and you've sat there in the midst of so many storms of ups and downs that you realize, okay, this is just another big powerful thought that um, that will pass. And in fact, you'd start to develop a relationship with those experiences, those storms, just like having that as a result of a strong meditation practice. One benefit of sadhana practice is that you start to carry around this relationship with sacred world. You start to carry around this relationship with awakeness. So we, through this practice, we reach into this vivid, vibrant, enlightened world of energy, and we begin to embed it in our bodies, or we splash it all over ourselves. We reach into the portal and we splash all this compassion over ourselves, like a thirsty dog drinking water on a hot day. Have you ever watched a dog drink water? It's the funniest thing. They make a huge mess, and they're lapping from the bowl. Their tongue is going in, and it's like going everywhere. It's splashing all over the floor, and the water goes everywhere. And you just can't help but wonder, like, does any of that water actually get into the dog's mouth? But it does. It does. So before I go on to talk about the Sadhana Mahamudra in particular, I just want to throw open the floor and see if anyone has any questions about what I just said, or comments, or wants to share from your sadhana practice, anything at all. So please, if you like, you can unmute yourself or raise your hand and unmute yourself. Jeremy, I think
There we are.
there you go.
There you go. Hi. Hi, everyone. Um, there's something in all your descriptions so far that just yeah. Sorry, I should say I've not done in any formal sense the sadhana practice that you're introducing us to, but I feel um, that I actually, in some way, do this. I think, particularly when I go for a walk by myself in nature, I deliberately seek to expand into the vibrancy and aliveness of everything around me. Um, and even, walking down a street, there's all the other people. You become aware of their aliveness and their consciousness, um, and things and everything, so that you feel that how alive everything really is. And so the experience of that, in contrast to just me and my thoughts and my schedule and what I've got to do, and what I needed to do because I didn't do it yesterday, and all of that, it's just utterly different. For a while you are walking in this other world where everything has the meaning and fullness, um, already there. It's already there. So I just wanted to share that because I feel that's a very important kind of part of my life, really. That when I can remember to just do it, or lean in that direction.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That is a absolutely beautiful evocation of exactly what I'm trying to say. And yeah, maybe for you, like, you don't need to do any sadhana practice because you already get it, you know. So, so that's
Not sure.
spectacular. But you're exactly, the picture you're bringing up is exactly the same thing. It's like this sense of connection and richness and aliveness. Um, and and I'm not sure there's anything more to say about that, but I really appreciate you bringing that into the daily, the the earth world, because I think it is available all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Hi. Um, my only experience was a retreat that you and Lama Liz did a few years ago at Wonderwell. And that was such an amazing few days when we repeatedly practiced the sadhana. And I found it to just be so enlivening, empowering, uplifting. It raised my awareness. It just put me in a whole nother place of transformation. It was just an incredibly powerful practice. I still have my little book and I still practice it from time to time. And it just helps lift me out of, whatever heaviness of the world or lethargy I'm in. And the other thing is that it felt like being in the presence of an enlightened teacher, like you're getting this direct transmission. That's how it feels. So it's a beautiful practice, and thank you for doing this again.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. I'm going to talk about that aspect of the teacher too in a second, but good to see you again. I thought I recognized you from one of those. Richard.
Good morning, Matthew. Agreed. Thank you for offering this to us. Your wonderful introductory comments have me thinking about an offering through NDF in the spring when Harvey Aronson, who's a very gifted Dzogchen teacher, and I think he's a social worker by training, was teaching to a group of us, and you might well have been there. And one of the things he said, which really resonated with me, is that in our modern life, we've lost our sense of enchantment. And that word really landed with me. And I think he's right. And what you're speaking to brings to mind that important observation on his part. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I wasn't there, but one of the phrases that Trungpa Rinpoche used all the time was ordinary magic. This idea that like and this idea that basically like ordinary life um, has this enchanting quality to it, and we just miss it. And it's there all the time. We just miss it, um, and that's what makes me think of that. We've lost touch with that um, enchanting quality, but we can get it back. Like it's not gone forever. We can access it anytime because it's still there. Thanks for that, Richard. I think Robin was next.
Hi. Yeah, thank you for your wonderful comments. And I come from the Shambhala tradition too, like you do. I began practicing in the 1994, so I really appreciate Trungpa Rinpoche's contribution. When I first began to do a sadhana practice, actually, I live right outside DC, not far from Frederick, Maryland. So I would go up to the Frederick, the Tibetan meditation center there. And I actually learned how to do a very short Chen Rinsink sadhana. And I found that it was really powerful, like as I really immersed myself in the practice and the visualization and the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra. I just gradually experienced this transformation where I felt more compassion, not only for myself, but other people as well. And I really understood them on a deeper level. And I hadn't even done like the Nundro, or anything, but, to me, it was just really amazing. And I find like the visualization practices, like someone else said with nature, that's been really healing and powerful for me too. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Robin. I'm going to talk a little bit about mantra too, because mantra is a part of sadhana practices and then a part of the sadhana of Mahamudra too. So actually, why don't I just, unless there are other comments, I thought I saw someone else's hand up, but you all set?
We've got Robin.
Oh, hey, Robin. Okay, please.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
All right, let me just let me just talk about the Sadhana of Mahamudra in particular, and then just to get a sense of the morning, uh, we'll go through this just sort of introduction to this particular practice, so you have sort of a sense of how it works, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll actually do the practice together for about 40 minutes or so, and then at the end, I think we'll have a little more time for discussion afterwards. So this this text, this sadhana was written. Some people say discovered. If you are familiar with what's called the Terma tradition, they would say it's a discovered text. But either way, it was discovered or written in 1968 by Choyam Trungpa, who was a meditation master, abbot of a monastery in eastern Tibet, the 12th of his line of leaders of this Tibetan meditation tradition, and and it was an incredibly tumultuous time in the world. 1968. Not even 10 years before, China had invaded Tibet, had killed tens of thousands of people, destroyed hundreds or thousands of monasteries, and Trungpa and as many people as he could gather basically walked over the Himalayan mountains to India, um, over the course of a number of months, basically escaped Tibet on foot over the highest mountains in the world. If you ever have a chance to read the book Born in Tibet, it's a harrowing tale and an incredible picture into pre-Chinese invasion of Tibet. Um, so the world is, he personally, and obviously the Tibetan people in general, just went through horrible change and challenge. And he escaped, got to India, spent a couple years in India as a teacher of other escaped lamas, like young lamas, and then got a scholarship to Oxford and went to Oxford for a few years and was introduced to the West in the late 60s. So he was exposed both to, high British culture as well as the tumultuous late 60s psychedelic revolution, student revolutions, the beginning of the environmental movement, the fight for women's liberation, height of the civil rights movement. He was completely exposed to both worlds. And so in early 1968, he decided to go on retreat and return to Bhutan. And he was seeking a way of bridging the meditation traditions of Tibet and the modern Western world. And he was also seeking a way to unite Tibetan Buddhists, because he felt like the Sangha was fighting amongst itself and wasting their time with what he calls intellectual speculations and going through villages, performing ceremonies for material gain. So he was very critical of the state of, Vajrayana Buddhism or Himalayan Buddhism at the time. And so to achieve both these goals, this sadhana combines basically the highest teachings of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism and the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism into one meditation practice. If people are familiar with what's called the Rime movement, this is very much in the tradition of Rime, which is an intellectual movement in Tibet in the late 19th century that basically said, we're spending too much time with these little sectarian divisions between, your flavor of enlightenment and my flavor of enlightenment. Let's take the best of everything and put it together into one non-sectarian approach to meditation practice. So the main figure in this sadhana is a combination of the most famous Nyingma character, Padmasambhava, and in particular his most wrathful, most energetic manifestation, which is called Dorje Trollo. Again, you don't need to know all this stuff, but if you're interested. So Dorje Trollo, and the most famous Kagyu lineage, which is called the Karmapas. The head of the Kagyu lineage are the Karmapas. And so this sadhana kind of puts them both together. And actually, it's interesting because this blend is very applicable to Natural Dharma Fellowship. Because at Natural Dharma Fellowship, we teach and practice both in the Kagyu Mahamudra tradition, which we call the Vajrayana, and in the Dzogchen Ati Nyingma tradition. And we've brought them together here in this Sangha too. So this particular practice is our you could say our approach to meditation is very much in line with the Sadhana of Mahamudra's worldview. All right, let me try to share my screen, and I'm just going to take you on a brief tour before we get into it, so that as we go through the practice itself, you'll have a little orientation. So you may have to arrange your screen such that you can see the text. Can everyone see that now? To see the cover of the text? Okay. So we start out with a few minutes of sitting meditation, settling, connecting with our bodies, finding our breath. And then we do that for maybe 6 minutes. And then we start, this is here on your left-hand side, you see a picture of the visualization of the sadhana. So this is more or less a two-dimensional, third-person perspective of the world of the sadhana of Mahamudra. You see, there's the pregnant tigress I was talking about. That is a manifestation of Yeshe Sogyal, if you're familiar with her. And then riding on top of the pregnant tigress, being carried through the world, is this mashup combination of the Nyingma lineage in Dorje Trollo and the Karma Kagyu lineage. You can see Dorje Trollo was wearing a little black hat, and the black hat is the symbol of the Karma Kagyu. And then these three people floating in the sky, which are described in the text, are all Karmapas. They're various people in the Karmapa lineage. So this is a sort of picture of what the world in which you'll be living for the next hour or so. And then down at the bottom are the protector deities who are guarding the outsides of the practice environment to keep us safe and awake as we meditate. Okay. So the first part of the sadhana is the refuge. This part that starts Namo, earth, water, fire, and all the elements. And we're taking refuge. We're dedicating any benefit that comes out of this practice to ourselves and to other people, to all other people. And already just in this one, 10 lines, there's enough to talk about for an hour, but like so much of this practice, we're sort of just getting started. So we just keep going. We're going to do that 3 times. And then we're going to move on to the top of page 7. And this is the creation of the mandala. So we're going to build up piece by piece that vast, alive 3D first person world. This is sacred world. So this section describes the visualization, the characters, the environment, the central figure, the figures that are in the forehead and the throat and the heart centers. And honestly, like libraries could be filled with books with just this one section because they're all connected and they all have meaning. Like there's layers and layers and layers of meaning in each of the different symbols. So every time you see that somebody says, you know, um, holding a hooked knife, that hooked knife has meaning and symbology. So you can just double click on this all the way to the very, there's no end to it, actually. In some ways, it's meant to just overwhelm your conceptual mind. There's so many details and so many things that your conceptual mind is just kind of like at some point you kind of give up and you're like, I can't, I'm not gonna and then it just starts to wash over you. In a sense, that's, at least in my experience, that's part of the magic of this practice is like you actually can't hold it all in your conceptual mind. And so you just start to live in the world. But if you can imagine some or all of it, then so much the better. Okay, this is all description. This is all creating the mandala. And then at the bottom of page 12, there's the supplication. So having cleared away the clouds of our own confusion and having imagined or created for ourselves or manifested in some way the enlightened energy, then we supplicate it. Again and again, we say, we aspire to see your face. We're basically admitting how confused we are and how much suffering we go through and how all of our attempts to be happy have basically failed. And we're basically like just begging and prodding and cajoling this internal wisdom to come out and help us. I'm going to say more about that in a second, but that's the supplication part of the sadhana. And then it works. And you can see at the bottom of page 14, it basically works. When the current of thoughts is self-liberated and the essence of Dharma is known, everything is understood, and apparent phenomena are all the books one needs. And so we're increasingly connecting with our inner wisdom. And when we get to this part at the bottom of page 18, we're celebrating. We are we're basically fully connected with our internal wisdom. And so we're going to repeat this. This is called the Four Dharmas of Gampopa. And we're going to repeat this 7 times. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. And I'll count them and signal to everybody. The last one I'll do a little more slowly so you'll know that we're coming up on 7. Okay, the next section is called the offerings. At least I call it the offerings. Uh, and in this section, we're basically like 100% generous. We basically offer everything that we have up to our internal wisdom and compassion. We basically hold nothing back, and even things that we're proud of, like food and wealth and companionship and fame and sensual attachments, all the things that sort of feel good, we offer up to our own enlightened energy. And we offer up the things that we're not proud of too: wantingness and desire and passion and anger and hatred, all that arises within. So we aren't just offering up the good stuff, we're offering up everything. Nothing is left out. And this is very much, core part of the Vajrayana practices, which is that everything in our experience is fuel for waking up. One of the most beautiful things in all of human society, human realization. Everything is fuel. And then there's the Abhisheka and mantra. So starting at the top of page 21, in this section, we basically say hum, hum, hum many times. Hum, hum, hum is the mantra of this sadhana. And hum, Hum, or the Tibetan ha, shapshu, hu, hum, ma hum is the seed syllable. At the heart of that Dorje Trollo Karma Pakshi character is the syllable hum, which is on the cover of the sadhana too, hum. So this is the out of hum all of this world arises, and so we're just going to say hum 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 many many times, and when we get to this part in the sadhana, if everyone can unmute, and everyone will, then we'll all hear each other's voices saying hum 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 hum. And for those of you who have not done mantra practice before, there's a million things to say about mantra practice, but just very simply, um, mantra practice connects your heart and your speech and your mind and the world. It's a way of evoking sanity with your full body out into the world. And so we're doing this many times, and in doing so, we kind of empower or charge up this enlightened world, the sacred world that we've evoked through the sadhana. So the mantra will just sort of naturally fade into silence, and keep saying it to yourself as that happens. Like the voices will calm down at the right time, and then but keep saying hum 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 to yourself, and then you can go on mute again, and and you can read the descriptions of the receiving the abhisheka, which is right here on the top of page 23. And then finally is the concluding verses. So everything from the middle of 23 to the end is the concluding verses, bringing everything to a close. And then we'll do shamatha vipassana again for resting in open awareness, or whatever your quiet meditation practice feels like. You just basically sit and enjoy the open space, or experience what's coming up based on evoking enlightened energy for a few minutes. And then I will ask Amanda to pop up the dedication of merit. We'll do the dedication of merit, and then after that we'll do a discussion. Okay, just a couple more quick notes, and then I want to take a break. This sadhana is practiced on the new moon and the full moon, and I'm very happy to be able to invite you all to a Zoom practice of this, and I'm going to put the URL in the chat, www.mindfulaware.com/SOM. If you go to that website, you can sign up for a link to uh, the dates of the new moon and full moon are there, and you can sign up for a Zoom link, and you'll get an email back, and you'll be able to use that link whenever you want to come to Sadhana Mahamudra practice through at least through the end of 2026. So two quick points before we take a break. If at any point during this meditation you feel overwhelmed or bombarded by the chanting or the imagery, just stop and relax and rest and listen for a bit and enjoy it. And then if you feel like it, jump back in or not. It's just totally up to you. Sometimes this practice can feel like a stampeding herd of horses. We chant it pretty fast, and it's okay to let the group carry you for a bit if you want to just listen. Totally fine. And then my second point is about devotion. So there is a lot of supplication in this meditation. There is a lot of begging and praying and being devoted to. And it's very easy to think, given how most of us were raised, that this is begging to an external being, someone or something outside of ourselves who's going to save us. But this is not the case. Um, in Buddhism, the good news is that there is no one coming to save us. There is no external God or deity or concept or anything that is going to reach down and pull us and make everything better. And maybe that's the bad news too. But that is the real situation. So we aren't supplicating to, we're not making offerings to, we're not being devoted to something else. We're actually being devoted to our internal, innate, inborn awakeness. We are supplicating the voice inside of us that already knows this, that is already connected to the sacredness of the world. And we're supplicating it to come forth and show itself and uh, connect to us and become manifest in our life. So we all know that inner voice. We all know that wisdom and that compassion. And you can call it the inner guru, or you can call it you can call it all kinds of different things. But that's what we're calling forth in this meditation. And that's what we're ultimately devoted to in Buddhism. The Quakers call it the light within, and it doesn't belong to anybody. It doesn't. It's not anyone's, and it's not even me. In the sense that it is something much deeper than the character called Matthew Bellows that I play in my mind. It is deeper and more connected than any of this stuff. Um, so that's what we're supplicating. Okay, enough talking. Let's take a 10-minute break, and let's come back at what is it? It's 11:15 for East Coasters, 8:15 for West Coasters, uh, and then we can practice the Sadhana of Mahamudra together. See you then. Okay, welcome back. So please just find a comfortable seat, ideally someplace where you can feel the weight of your body on your sit bones, on your hips. So ideally your knees are below your hips and your back can be upright and flexible, movable, but strong. I'm traveling now, so I don't have my gong with me. So just please, in your mind, ring a gong, and we'll begin the sitting practice. So just settling into the feeling of your body, the feeling of your body on the earth, allowing your attention to sink down from the eyes and the ears and the brain, sink down through the throat, down through the shoulders, the heart, and the belly. Sink down to the base of the body. Just connect with the earth below. And rest for a moment and just allow yourself to be supported by the earth. Feel into that connection. If thoughts arise or thoughts sweep you away, if you find yourself lost or disconnected from the feeling of your body, just come back. Just simply bring yourself back. No big deal. Happens all the time. Just like you're leading a child across the street, just gently come back to the feeling of your body on the chair. Now, if you like, you can let your attention expand to include the feeling of your body breathing. Ribs in the belly expanding, contracting, just the natural breath. Just giving ourselves a moment to appreciate this incredible, ordinary thing. Body's breathing. Okay, we'll start with the refuge. Namo, earth, water, fire, and all the elements, the animate and the inanimate, the trees and the greenery, and so on, all partake of the nature of self-existing equanimity, which is quite simply what the great wrathful one is. In the spontaneous wisdom of the Trikaya, I take refuge with body, speech, and mind in order to free the three lords of materialism and are afraid of external phenomena, which are their own projections. I take this vow in meditation. Namo, earth, water, fire, and all the elements, the animate and the inanimate, the trees and the greenery, and so on, all partake of the nature of self-existing equanimity, which is quite simply what the great wrathful one is. In the spontaneous wisdom of the Trikaya, I take refuge with free those who suffer at the hands of the three lords of materialism and are afraid of external phenomena, which are their own projections. I take this vow in meditation. Namo, earth, water, fire, and all the elements, the animate and the inanimate, the trees and the greenery, and so on, all partake of the nature of self-existing equanimity, which is quite simply what the great wrathful one is. In the spontaneous wisdom of the Chikaya, I take refuge with body, speech, and mind in order to free those who words of materialism and are afraid of external phenomena, which are their own projections. I take this vow in meditation. Hum, hum, hum. In the boundless space of suchness, in the play of the great light, all the miracles of sight, sound, and mind are the five wisdoms and the five Buddhas. This is the mandala which is never arranged but is always complete. It is the great bliss, primeval and all-pervading. Hum, it is the boundless equanimity which is never changed. It is unified into a single circle beyond confusion. In its basic character, there is no longer any trace of ignorance nor of understanding, nothing whatever, but everything arises from it, yet it reveals the spontaneous hum, hum, hum. My whole being is Dorje Trollo, and my form is Karma Pakshi. My speech is Mikyo Dorje, and my mind is Drungten Dorje. With that unwavering conviction, fearlessly enjoy the Mahamudra and attain the experience of Mahaati. Hum, hum, hum. In the state of non-meditation, all phenomena subside in that great graveyard in which lie buried the complexities of samsara and nirvana. This is the universal ground of everything. It is the basis of freedom and also the basis of confusion. Within it, the Vajra anger, the flame of death, burns fiercely and consumes the fabric of dualistic thoughts. The black river of death, the Vajra passion, turbulent with massive waves, destroys the raft of conceptualization to the roaring sound of the immeasurable void. The great poisonous wind of the Vajra ignorance blows with all-pervading energy like an autumn storm and sweeps away all thoughts of possessiveness and self like a pile of dust. Whatever you see partakes of the nature of that wisdom which transcends past, present, and future. From here came the Buddhas of the past. Here live the Buddhas of the present. This is the primeval ground from which the Buddhas of the future will come. This is the heavenly realm of the Dakinis, the secret charnel ground of the blazing mountain. But you won't find ordinary earth and rocks here, even if you look for them. All the mountains are Buddha Lochana, who is the all-pervading wisdom of equanimity and unchanging stillness. This is the realm in which the distinctions between the meditation and the post-meditation experience no longer occur. In this fearless state, even if the Buddhas of the three times rise against you, you will remain in the indestructible Vajra nature. The water which flows here is the Buddha Mamaki, who is the lake of mirror-like wisdom, clear and pure as though the sky had melted. Here is the joyous river, which is the transcendent form of the eight kinds of consciousness. It flows into the great purity, which goes beyond clean and unclean. In the various parts of the charnel ground can be seen the terrifying trees, which are the protected Mahakalis, Ranjan Gyalma, Dorje Sudrupma, Titsoma, and Ekajati. In these trees, vultures, ravens, hawks, and eagles perch, hungry for meat and thirsting for blood. They represent the concepts of good and evil. Until you stop clinging to these concepts, the Mahakalis will continue to manifest as friendly goddesses and harmful demons. Various animals roam about, tigers, leopards, bears, jackals, and dogs, all howling and jumping up and down excitedly. These represent the different kinds of perception. Here, too, are the chitans of the awakened state of mind where the great yogis live. They represent the supernormal powers which need not be sought. In the middle of this heavenly realm is a huge rock mountain which arose from the corpse of the Rudra of ego. It is triangular in shape and it pierces the skies. It is dignified and awe-inspiring and radiates the blue light of Vajrasattva. On top of this mountain is the red triangle, which can accommodate all apparent phenomena and the whole of existence. This is the primeval ground where the question of samsara and nirvana does not arise. It is the beginning and the end of everything. The triangle radiates the blazing red light of inner warmth and compassion. Above the triangle is a beautiful flower, a hundred-petaled lotus in full bloom, exuding a delicate scent. It is the lotus of discriminating wisdom. Here is the moon of great bliss and skillful means, and here is the sun of wisdom and shunyata. The sonorous voice of silence is heard. From it appears the rainbow body of wisdom. This is the personification of the body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas. He is the self-born teacher, the Lord of the Herukas, Padma Chocheng, the Lam whose power extends over all apparent phenomena and the whole of existence. He is Karma Pakshi, in whom are unified the unchanging mind of the Guru, the wisdom of the Yadam, beyond waxing and waning, and the protectors, the confused thoughts which have returned to nakedness. He is dark red in color, symbolizing the oneness of everything within compassion. He is inseparable from peacefulness, and yet he acts whenever action is required. He subdues what needs to be subdued. He destroys what needs to be destroyed, and he cares for whatever needs his care. His anger, devoid of hatred, is as fierce and terrible as if the three worlds were on fire. His presence is overwhelming. His three eyes of wisdom are bloodshot and stare in all directions. They radiate light, outshining the sun and moon. His expression is wrathful, and he bites the lower lip. He has a black triangular beard, shiny and twisted into a point, emitting sparks of fire. In his right hand, raised to the heavens, he holds a nine-pointed dorje of meteoric iron, emitting a storm of red sparks, each in the form of the letter hum. Thus he subdues spiritual pride. In his left hand, he holds a purba, also of meteoric iron, emitting a shower of sparks in the form of thousands of mahakalas. The purva pierces through the heart of seductive passion. He wears the three robes of the bhikshu, signifying the accomplishment of discipline, meditation, and wisdom. He is the originator and master of all Buddha activity. Hence he wears the black crown, bright with gold and blazing with unceasing light, emitting a steady stream of discs of light of the five different colors, which are the five Buddhas. He stands on a dakini in the form of a pregnant tigress, with his right leg bent and his left leg extended in the Haruka posture. Even the thought of him will destroy the mountain of conceptualizations. The sight of him dries up the ocean of dualistic clingings. He is immersed in flames which radiate the intense heat of compassion. In his forehead center is the unchanging form of Vairochana, who is Tusum Kempa, the Dharma Raja of the three worlds, clad in the bhikshu robes, with his hands in the meditation posture, holding a dorje. He has white hair and a thin, dark face. His expression is wise and peaceful. He wears a black crown ornamented with the gold Dharma chakra, which sends out rays of light. He is seated cross-legged on the back of an elephant. In the throat center of Karmapakshi is Mikyo Dorje, the Lord of Speech, the unceasing voice of Amitabha. He is of orange color. He wears tiger skin around his waist and a shawl of human skin around his shoulders. He wears ornaments of bone and jewels. In his raised right hand, he holds the sword of wisdom, which cuts off the root of the universal unconscious. In his left hand, level with his heart, he holds the vessel which contains the treasure of the Dharma. His face radiates friendliness. One glimpse of it suffices to open the door of confidence. The thought of him awakens memory. As the lord of the Padma family, he wears the black crown, ornamented with a golden lotus, radiating the red light of Amitabha. He is seated on a white lion. In the heart center of the great wrathful one is the king of the Tathagatas, Ramjan Dorje, the Vajrasattva nature of never-ending awareness. He is blue in color with a serene and friendly face, expressing the state which transcends the boundary between meditation and non-meditation. By a glimpse of his face, the wisdom of the mind transmission is established in one's heart. His three eyes gaze into fathomless space. He has achieved the highest state of simplicity and is therefore seen naked, seated cross-legged, with his hands in the meditation posture, holding a skull cup filled with Amrita. He is the king of kings and possessor of the indestructible Vajra Abhisheka, and therefore wears the black crown, bright with gold and ornamented with a Vajra. The blue light of Samantabhadra, the all-good, shines from the crown with a primordial state in which neither liberation nor confusion has ever arisen. Around Karmapakshi, a great host of the Buddhas and the Sangha, together with the utterance of the Dharma, fills the sky. They are surrounded by the Dharmapalas and Dakinis. The sounds of hum and ah and pa shakes the sky. It is though all the musical instruments of the universe were being played simultaneously. Whatever you see is the form of Karmapakshi run wild. Whatever you hear is the voice of Karmapakshi let loose. Whatever you think is the thought of Karmapakshi unleashed. In the spontaneously existing state where meditation is effortless, all movement are the Vajra dance, and all sound is the Vajra music. It is the great Guru Mandala. O Karmapa, Lord and knower of the three times, O Padmakara, Father and protector of all beings, you transcend all coming and going. Understanding this, I call upon you. Give thought to your only child. I am a credulous and helpless animal who has been fooled by the mirage of duality. I have been fool enough to think that I possess my own projections. So now you, my Father, are my only refuge. You alone can grasp the Buddha state. The glorious copper-colored mountain is within my heart. Is not this pure and all-pervading naked mind your dwelling place? Although I live in the slime and the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see it. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see it. The joy of spontaneous awareness which is with me all the time. Is not this your smiling face, O Karma Padmakara? Although I live in the slime and the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see it. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see it. At glorious Tatsang in the cave which can accommodate everything, samsara and nirvana both, the heretics and bandits of hope and fear are subdued, and all experiences are transformed into crazy wisdom. Is not this your doing, O Dorje Trollo? Although I live in the slime of the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. The corpse, bloated with the eight worldly concerns, is cut into pieces by the knife of detachment and served up as the feast of the great bliss. Is not this your doing, O Karmapakshi? Although I live in the slime of the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. In the boundless space of non-meditation, he who performs the great dance of Mahamudra puts a stop to thoughts so that all acts become the acts of the Guru. Is not this your doing, O Tuzin Kempa? Although I live in the slime and the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. When the current of thoughts is self-liberated and the essence of Dharma is known, everything is understood, and apparent phenomena are all the books one needs. Is not this your doing, omniscient Mikyo Dorje? Although I live in the slime of the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. The kingdom of no dharma, free from concepts, is discovered within the heart. Here there is no hierarchy of different stages, and the mind returns to its naked state. Is not this your doing, O Ramjan Dorje? Although I live in the slime of the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. The Father Guru, the embodiment of all the siddhas, is all-seeing and all-pervading. Wherever you look, his transparent body is there, and the power of his blessing can never be diminished. Although I live in the slime of the muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see his face. Although I stumble in the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see his face. Living as I do in the dark age, I am calling upon you because I am trapped in this prison without refuge or protector. The age of the three poisons has dawned, and the three lords of materialism have seized power. This is the time of hell on earth. Sadness is always with us, and unceasing depression fills our minds. The search for an external protector has met with no success. The idea of a deity as an external being has deceived us, led us astray. Counting on friends has brought nothing but sorrow and insecurity. So now I have no other refuge but you, Karmapakshi, the lotus born. Think of us, poor, miserable wretches with deep devotion and intense longing, I supplicate you. The time has come for you to arouse yourself and do something. The tradition of meditation is waning and intellectual arguments predominate. We are drunk with spiritual pride and seduced by passion. The Dharma is used for personal gain, and the river of materialism has burst its banks. The materialistic outlook dominates everywhere, and the mind is intoxicated with worldly concerns. Under such circumstances, how can you abandon us? The time has come when your child needs you. No material offering will please you, so the only offering I can make is to follow your example. When the wild and wrathful father approaches, the external world is seen to be transparent and unreal. The reasoning mind no longer clings and grasps. It is wonderful to arrive in your domain, in the pure land of the blazing mountain, where every experience is full of joy. Hey ho, the happy yogi! Every movement of the mind becomes bliss and emptiness. All polarity disappears when the mind emerges into nakedness. This is the mandala in which the senses are self-liberated. On seeing your face, I am overjoyed. Now pain and pleasure alike have become ornaments which are pleasant to wear. The experience of joy becomes devotion, and I am drunk with all-pervading blessings. This is the sign of the merging of mind and guru. The whole of existence is freed and becomes the guru. When such blessings descend, your child's depression is entirely liberated into blissfulness. Thank you, great Karmapa. Thank you, Father Padmakara. There is no separation between teacher and disciple. Father and child are one in the realm of thought. Grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so the Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Grant your blessings so my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. To the crazy wisdom form of the Buddhas of the three times, the unified mandala of all the cities, Dorje Trollo Karmapakshi, I make this supplication. Desire, hatred, and other hindrances are self-liberated. To the boundless rainbow body, Padmakara Karmapakshi, the Haruka who, untouched by concepts, pervades all existence, I make this supplication. Whatever is seen with the eyes is vividly unreal and emptiness, yet there is still form. This is the true image of Tusum Kempa, who now I supplicate. Whatever is heard with the ears is the echo of emptiness, yet real. This is the clear and distinct utterance of Mikyo Dorje, whom now I supplicate. Good and bad, happy and sad, all thoughts vanish into emptiness like the imprint of a bird in the sky. This is the vivid mind of Rangchen Dorje, whom now I supplicate. The animate and the inanimate are the mandala of the glorious Mahasiddha, which no one can change. It always remains impressive and colorful. This mandala now I supplicate. The hope of attaining Buddhahood and the fear of continuing to wander in samsara, doubt that wisdom exists within one, and other dualistic thoughts, all these are my feast offerings. Food, wealth, companionship, fame, and sensual attachments, all these I offer for the elaborate arrangement of the mandala. Wantingness, desire, and passion I offer as the great ocean of blood which comes from the killing of samsara. Thoughts of anger and hatred I offer as the amrita which intoxicates extreme beliefs and renders them inoperative. All that arises within, wandering thoughts, carelessness, and all that is subject to ignorance, I offer as the great mountain of Torma, ornamented with the 8 kinds of consciousness. Whatever arises is merely the play of the mind. All this I offer, filling the whole universe. I offer knowing that giver and receiver are one. I offer without expecting anything in return and without hope of gaining merit. I make these offerings with transcendental generosity in the Mahamudra. Now that I have made these offerings, please grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Hum, hum, hum. In the cave of Taksang Senge Sandrup, he has subdued the evil forces and buried treasure in rocks and snow mountains and holy places of Tibet, shows kindness to the people of the future dark age. I supplicate you, Dorje Trollo. I supplicate you, Uten Padmakara. Hum, hum, hum. You are Lord of Yidams and conqueror of the whole of existence and all apparent phenomena. You have subdued the viciousness of the Mongol emperor and overcome the energy of fire, water, poison, weapons, and evil forces. I supplicate you, Karma Pakshi. Hum, hum, hum. You who fulfill all wishes and are Lord of centralist space, you who shine with a kind and luminous light, I supplicate you, Sir Popa. Hum, hum, hum. Ah, Mikyo Dorje fills the whole of space. Ho, he is the Vajra joy which sends out luminous light. Hum, he is the energy of music and Lord of messengers. Om, he is the wrathful action which cleanses all impurities. Hum, hum, hum. Seeing the Bodhisattva Rongchen Dorje is like discovering the wish-fulfilling gem. He removes the poverty of oneself and others. He is the source of all that is needed. I supplicate his wisdom body. Hum, hum, hum. Whatever occurs in the realm of the mind, such as thoughts of the 5 poisons, one should neither lead nor follow. Just let it remain in its true state and reach the liberation of Dharmakaya. I supplicate the Guru of self-liberated perfect insight. Hum 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 hum. If you like now you can unmute and we can all hum together. Hum 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 Please continue the homomums yourself. By uniting our minds with the thoughts of the ocean of the siddhas, their overwhelming process and the blessings are felt in great joy and emptiness. The visualization becomes just a mixture of colors. Dazzling rays of the five wisdoms are brightened, bright red, deep green, clear blue, pure yellow, and bright white. They are not static, but oscillating all the time. They fill the whole of heaven and earth. They are so bright they are hard to look at. At the same time, you can see a rain of amrita and many-colored flowers, and you lose the clear-cut concept of here and there and become dizzy. Now you become the lord of the Trikaya realm and receive the simple and ultimate Abhisheka. You become one with the body, speech, and mind of the siddhas. Hum, hum, hum. When the precious Guru approaches, the whole of space is filled with rainbow light. He sends out his emanations as messengers, and a roaring flame of blessings shoots into the sky. Various meditation experiences and flashes of insight occur. Oh, the great Guru, I follow your example. Please approach and grant your blessings. Bless this place. Give us the four Abhishekas and clear all obstacles. Grant us the ultimate and relative cities. Hum, hum, hum. Hum, hum, hum. In the mandala of Mahamudra shines moonlight, pure and all-pervading. All apparent phenomena are the play of the mind. All qualities are complete within the mind. I, the yogi, am fearless and free from occupations. Hopes and fears of achieving and abstaining are all used up. I awaken into the wisdom with which I was born, and compassionate energy arises without pretense. Hey ho, the self-existing rishi. The siddhas enjoy ourselves with great simplicity. Ah, ah, ah. The wisdom flame sends out a brilliant light. May the goodness of Dorje Trello be present. Karma Pakshi, Lord of Mantra, King of Insight, may his goodness too be present. Tusum Kempa, the primeval Buddha, beyond all partiality, may his goodness be present. Mikyo Dorje, Lord of boundless speech, may his goodness be present here. Ranjan Dorje, faultless single eye of wisdom, may his goodness be present. The Kagyu Gurus, the light of whose wisdom is a torch for all beings, may their goodness be present. The ocean of wish-fulfilling Yidams who accomplish all actions, may their goodness be present. The protectors who plant firm the victorious banner of Dharma, may their goodness be present. May the goodness of the great mind mandala of Mahamudra be present. Now we'll just rest quietly for a few minutes and enjoy the experience. Hey, Amanda, if you wouldn't mind putting up the dedication, please. This is just a wish that any benefit that comes out of our practice would be shared with everyone and everything. Jamju Sancho Rinpoche Mache Parnam Chejurji Shepa Nyampar Mepa Yang Gongne Gongdu Belvar Sho. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened. We finish with a bow to each other. That's all the time we have for today. If anyone would like to stay around and chat about this, I'm happy to stay for a couple minutes. But it's 11 it's at the end of our session, so please feel free to drop out. Lovely to see you. Thank you for your interest in coming and practice, and hope to see you again. And if you'd like to join, I put in that link into the chat for the next sessions of Sadhana Mahamudra practice. Lovely to see you. Thank you.